There have been a handful of times that I have accused this Lower Decks season of being a little bit bland and uninteresting. I'm not going to lie, it seems to be a mixture of us visiting popular Star Trek home planets and then also just me getting a little bit too much filler for my taste. We are at the end of the season, the penultimate episode in the season finale, which means that we're getting that bread and butter, baby. Finally time to see what Mike McMahon and the producers of the show have been cooking up with this mystery ship, appearing in front of miscellaneous starships and different alien species, and then using this mysterious beam that we have only recently learned is not destroying the ships, but transporting them to a different location. If you haven't seen the episode, I'm just warning you now, this review is going to be filled to the brim of spoilers. I'm going to reveal pretty much everything here in a couple moments. So if you haven't seen the episode, run away, go watch it. Episode 9, The Inner Fight. This is a play on words, a reference to the title from the popular TNG episode, The Inner Light. The Lower Deckers assisting these outpost scientists on this outpost, and it's surrounded by an energy field fence that is screaming discovery to me. It looks exactly like that fence from that one really shisty episode, The Examples. These weird outpost scientists are studying these tremble lizards on this planet of S4E9. I really wanted to identify the tool that Boimler was using to repair their systems. I went through a whole list of different Star Trek tools, and I couldn't identify it, and I really would like to do that in the future if they haven't done so already. I think it would be very fun to see a hyperspanner or a quantum flux regulator. If you actually go and Google, there are a lot of pictures and references in these things are actually identifiable. I think it would be very neat for them to have Boimler or Rutherford actually hold one of these things and make it a very complicated Easter egg. The energy field goes down, which forces Mariner to go commando. While defending herself from the tremble lizards, she uses a plate-ish thing to block the venom. Might be a reference to the time that Captain Pike unrealistically blocked a phaser shot using a metallic plate in among the Lotus Eaters. After the opening credits, the episode starts getting very exciting immediately when Captain Freeman calls the Lower Deckers, besides Mariner, to a little meeting and explains to them that the mystery ship is now targeting ex-Starfleet members, and it is now Starfleet's job to go out and search for these people so that it doesn't give the mystery ship any type of advantage. 4 Starfleet members that they list are Thomas Riker, 7 of 9, Beverly Crusher, and the actual owner of the mystery ship. I'm going to spoil it right now, Nicholas Locarno. How cool is that? This is the most Lower Decks episode of Lower Decks ever for many reasons. The point in the timeline that Lower Decks is taking place right now makes it very exciting for these 4 characters to show up on the screen. I think it's lore accurate for them to be non-commissioned and non-active in Starfleet. 7 of 9 right now should be a Fenris Ranger, I'm pretty sure. Beverly Crusher, she should be on her maternity long leave with Jack in that huge time gap that she was away from Picard, her Enterprise crewmates, and all of Starfleet. Thomas Riker was last seen being sent off to the Luzon 2 prison camp on Cardassia, or probably one of Cardassia's many territories or moons, after he attempted to do some crazy Maquis stunt by stealing the Defiant in the Deep Space Nine episode, The Defiant. Captain Freeman and her groupies are tasked with actually going and finding Nicholas Locarno the entire episode, and they go to this planet called New Saxton. Star Wars. It's literally Tatooine. The entire planet is full of a bunch of miscellaneous alien species. Everybody just chills out in space bars. They're all kind of space thugging. It's Tatooine, and on top of that, there's a point in the episode where there is a outpost, and it's jungly, looks dangerously close to the Endor outpost that they have to defeat in Return of the Jedi. Can't really think of that many times Star Trek has ever attempted to really reference Star Wars like that, because they've always been huge competitors. They have to take a moon shuttle down to the planet while trying to gather information about Locarno, and when they got off that shuttle, I noticed some aliens hopped out with them, and they appeared to be, to me at least, a hipster-looking Kzinti. Then we also had a Tamarian female, and also a female-ish looking Gorn. The bar that they are trying to enter to get information from, literally like the salty spittoon from SpongeBob, is called Mud's, and that is plain as day gotta be a reference to the good old Harry Harcourt Fenton Mud from the original series, and then also Discovery. Really cool to see that Mud's legacy is still spanning this far out into the galaxy and in this point in the timeline. For all we know, he could be immortal and still alive and kicking and just scheming and gooning and getting himself in trouble. You might know that the Corbomite maneuver is one of my favorite episodes of Star Trek of all time. So the moment they went in that bar and you found out that the information broker was actually Baylock's puppet, that was amazing. That was so funny. And then when Captain Freeman attempted to shake it loose of information thinking that it was a real puppet and it turned out to be an alien, I think that makes me so happy because that means that Baylock's puppet was based off a real species that exists in the Star Trek universe. Great moment, 10 out of 10. A little bit of a canon mistake if this is the case. Behind the bar, when they actually get inside and they're trying to get info from the information broker, I think I see a Mintakan female behind the bar. If that is the case, I think that's a canon mistake because it can't be more than 20 years since we had that episode in TNG, Who Watches the Watchers, with the Mintakans, a Bronze Age civilization, and 20 years is not enough time for these aliens to just be popping up in random space bars. Bit of a stretch, but I think that green bug alien might be a poorly illustrated Xindi insectoid. The reason Mariner never wants to rank up, the reason she never wants to further her Starfleet career, is simply because she's traumatized and this is a defense mechanism. A lot of people for a while were guessing that it was just because her admiral father was not present, but we get an answer that is actually way cooler than that. It is the fact that Mariner was very good friends with a great legacy character in the form of Ensign Sito, the ensign that appeared in both episodes, The First Duty, as well as the original Lower Decks episode from The Next Generation that inspired this series. Very, very cool. Mariner explained that she was actually really good friends with Ensign Sito, that she looked up to her, and the fact that she got ahead of her and got assigned to the Enterprise, that she was her role model, put undercover by Picard's orders and just the orders of higher ups, and got killed by the Cardassians, absolutely crushed her, has got to be the reason why she is so salty about the higher ups in the senior staff and how she's always thought of them as jerks who take advantage of the people who are under them. This speaks so many volumes, but it also frightens me a little bit. The fact that they are tying in Mariner's long personality trope and they're finally tying it in with the original Lower Decks episode and bringing in so many different characters that are connected to that episode. It leads me to believe that next week's season finale might be written as a possible series finale, with many rumors of Mike McMahon coming out and saying that we might not be getting future seasons of Lower Decks, with no future seasons currently being greenlit. The fact that it's finally been revealed why Mariner is the complete way she is, us getting a conclusion to a lot of the Lower Decks original characters like Badgie, Agamus, and Peanut Hamper. A lot of these things make me think that maybe this might be the last season of Lower Decks. Very frightening. I'm so enjoying the results of the mystery ship. I really enjoyed Mariner's time down on the planet with the Klingon captain. That was a very cinematic way they animated that, by the way, that when they were trapped in the cave with the knife storm coming down. Animation was super crisp, and they were definitely putting a little bit more budget in there and setting the tone. Apex of Mariner's story. She's been irritating and trying to get herself killed for 4 seasons in a row, and now we finally have a concrete, amazing answer as to why that is the case. One thing I'm a little bit confused about is how old Nick Locarno appeared in the final scene. He was very gray, and I don't know if that's just because he's been on the run, but he can't be much older than 35, right? Because I think it's been revealed this season, Mariner and Boimler are the same age, and I think they're between 26 and 29. No way they're older than 30. Ensign Sito and Nick Locarno were at the academy, and they were maybe a couple of years senior to Mariner. I can't imagine that they're any much older than 35 or 36, and it's not normal for somebody to have that much gray hair at that age. And Nick Locarno was very young in the first duty. He couldn't have been like a couple years older than Wesley. Wondering if this is accurate, if this time frame that we have set up is completely there, and if Mariner is actually old enough to be at all of these places in time for it to make sense. And lastly, I'll say that it is icing on top of the cake that Robert Duncan McNeil is actually the one to come and voice this character, because he is the character. But with all that being said, my tortoise is making a lot of noise over there. He wants me to give him some attention, so I think I might, and I'm gonna go get this video uploaded. If you enjoyed the video, I'd be very flattered if you were to slap a like on it. If there's anything that you want to share with me, any predictions, please leave them down in the comment section below. Comments are my favorite thing about the platform. If you're enjoying any of the content on the channel, I'd be very flattered if you were to subscribe. And with all that being said, all of you have a good rest of your week. Live long and prosper.